Housing affordability could get even worse. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your hashtag not sponsored cheap coffee and well, I want to have a look at 1% deposit mortgages. Now this is not a thing in Australia yet as far as I can tell, but we're complaining and concerned about the 5% deposit mortgages, and I don't blame anyone for taking advantage of it. But 1%? Only in America, everyone. So if we're there thinking, oh, it couldn't get any worse, housing affordability has peaked, it's never going to be, it's going to come crashing down because people won't be able to afford houses. Well, they can find a way. Imagine a 1% deposit with a 50-year mortgage. Just honestly, a few years ago that would have seemed like a preposterous joke, but right now, well. So let's check this one out here, guys. This is from Rocket Mortgage, and this is explaining these 1% deposit mortgages. I've got no idea. I just heard about someone mentioning it in a video, so I thought we have to look at this because, hey, we'll copy stuff from other countries around the world. How long do you think until we start seeing this in Australia? 40-year 1% down. What would bloody Dave Ramsey say about it? 1%. 1%. That's nothing. That is nothing. $1 million. I mean, come on. What would you need to scrape together enough to get into a house? 1%, you're talking 10 grand. So, saving for a down payment is one of the biggest obstacles faced by home buyers. Yeah, that's true. That's a challenge everywhere, particularly now with cost of living and rental crisis. It's a significant upfront cost, even if you can afford the monthly payments and maintenance associated with owning a home. We're tackling the challenge with a 1+ by Rocket Mortgage, giving eligible home buyers a chance to put 1% down with a 2% grant. Wow. What a 1% mortgage. Okay. A 1% down mortgage program allows eligible home buyers to put down as little as 1% of the purchase price of a home. Although lenders may have different structures, they are often conventional loans with a 3% minimum down payment. 3% minimum, 3% deposit. 3% deposit. The lender contributes the remaining 2% through a grant or other form of down payment assistance. This gives new homeowners 3% equity in the home when they close. Wow. And I mean, that 2%, that could probably be, what's that? Them saving money, not going through a broker. 3% equity. Shit. So here, we're worried about Alba's 5%. We're worried about shared equity. We're worried about how unaffordable housing is. In continued demand, it's struggling to meet supply. Hey, guys, it could get worse, guys. It could get much worse. 1% down. A 1% down program like 1+ is designed to make homeownership more attainable for those who can budget for a mortgage payment but lack the time or savings for a significant upfront down payment. So, understanding 1% down mortgages. It's a bit of a different loan structure you typically see, so let's briefly break down how it works. The borrower contributes 1%. I mean, you could get a credit card. I remember one of my bosses when I was a student, he was telling me how he bought his house by getting the deposit off their credit card, him and his wife. They got a cash advance and used that to get in there. I mean, got to do what you got to do, but still, that Dave Ramsey wouldn't be happy. The borrower contributes 1% of the purchase price as their portion of the down payment. The lender contributes 2% of the purchase price in some form of down payment assistance. Rocket Mortgage gives a grant of up to $7,000. Now remember, this is in real money, so it's in USD. The 1% in client funds combined with the 2% lender assistance covers the 3% minimum down payment requirement on a conventional mortgage. And we wonder why the US housing market went to complete and utter crap with some of the insane stuff that they're doing over there, or that they've done in the past over there. So when you make comparisons to the GFC and the housing mess over there to Australia, we're not nowhere near this. This is utterly insane. We're here complaining about having to have a bloody 3% repayment buffer. Here they're letting you get in with 1%. I mean, this is the free market. Okay, this is the free market. I, I, I mean, I guess it's better to get into a home. But you tell me, guys, would you jump at this? I mean, if you were using it to grow, how many of them could you buy? And oh, wow. So I want to buy a home. I like to refinance. Oh, boy. The main benefit of OnePlus is the ability to buy a home with 1%. Rocket mortgage. Yep. Buyers have the option of contributing up to 3% towards their down payment while still receiving the 2% grant. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? This has the benefit of increasing your starting equity. Finally, there are no geographic restrictions or first-time home buyer requirements. But before you get too much further, let's give an example based on $300,000 purchase price. You bring $3,000 for a down payment. They give you, okay, so you 2.6, then the remaining 291,000 USD. Wow. You'll also have to pay for the private mortgage insurance until you have at least 20% equity in your home. So let's see, how do you qualify one? You need a credit score of 620 or higher. If you're putting down 1% down, you must buy a single unit primary residence. Primary residences with 2 to 4 units must have a 3% down payment. When combined with the 2% grant, the initial down payment can be no more than 5%. There's an upper limit of $350,000. So you can't buy anywhere good, even in the States, for $350,000. To qualify, you can't make more than 80% of the median income in your area you're looking to buy a home. So this is for people who aren't even making the median. Well, yeah, they're below median, so they're doing it tough. Wow. For example, if you live in McCobb County, Michigan, the area median income is $100,000. You can't make more than $80,000 to qualify for the loan. Okay, oh boy. I mean, this is just insane. And these guys aren't the only ones that are doing it. I asked Copilot, make me a table of this type of product. So you've got Rocket Money with their 1 plus 2% grant, 1% borrower down. You've got United Wholesale Mortgage, conventional 1% down, 2% assistance. So again, 1%. Guild Mortgage, 1% down, a 2% grant up to $5,000. I mean, is this? I'm lost for words. This seems very dangerous. This seems you could easily tip over the edge if you see a decline in your. I mean, can people walk away from these mortgages? Is this why you see all the abandoned houses in Detroit, where people just give the keys back to the bank and abandon it? Union Home Mortgage, 1% down, 2% contribution. Quick Loans, 1 plus, same as Rocket Mortgage. New American Funding, 1% down mortgages. Wow. These programs typically built on conventional loans from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, requiring a minimum 3% down, 1% from you, 2% from your lender. Eligibility often includes income caps. Lender assistance is usually in the form of a non-repayable grant. Programs are available for both first-time and repeat buyers. Aid for closing costs may vary across lenders. Wow. Would you like to compare it to West End, Queensland? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a place in West End for $300,000 US. And I don't think Fannie Mae will lend to Australian property. Thanks, Copilot, for asking that. But look at that, guys. Look at that. Well, let's have a bit of a chat about this one, eh? Nope. No, we won't do the outro yet. We'll clear that up. Okay, there we go. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. You wouldn't think I've been doing YouTube for such a long time. I mean, what can we say? As concerned as we are about the housing market here in Australia, there's lessons we can learn from the United States about how much worse we could make it. Could you imagine 1% down? I mean, the closest we have are the 2% 2% deposits needed for single parents to get into a house. That's only capped at 10,000 people. And that I can appreciate if, well, how many houses are sold because relationships break apart. And then trying to get back into the market is a nightmare. But this is just on another level. Well, there you go. Hey, the market provides. But then again, it's all Freddie Mae and Fannie Mae and all that garbage. So it's these organizations that are, well, controlled by the government in many ways. It's a mess. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Should we see this in Australia? What do you reckon? Is it a good idea? Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.